let me just start off by saying that I was so ready for this live stream. Like, I was sitting down, my nips were hard, I was munching on Doritos, my Coke Zero, like I was so into it. But then I very soon realized that this was essentially going to be like a 1 hour session of like middle-aged dudes just jerking each other off over DC Multiverse McFarlane action figures. They were going to talk about how amazing they were and how they were so jizz-worthy and how their nipples were so hard over DC Multiverse action figures that they were about to pop off. And that was it. That was like a 1 hour long live stream from McFarlane's official channel where they were supposed to have like these big giant massive reveals, and they did have some reveals, but guess what? They were like the last 10 to 15 minutes of the video, and really like full-on content about those action figures, it was maybe like 5 minutes long. That was it. It was like 5 minutes. It was a condensed little tiny snippet of the video where they just said, here we go, you're getting another like alternate version of King Kong, you're getting a quote-unquote new Flash action figure, which I think is just a reuse of that Rebirth Flash that got released like maybe, I don't know what, 4 to 5 years ago at this point. And then you're getting a new Deathshot. That's it. It was a tiny little snippet. If you guys are wondering what kind of accessories these action figures come with, well, continue wondering, because we didn't even get a look at the accessories. They said they were going to be a part of the collector's edition line, so that means $30 price point. It means extra stuff thrown in with the packaging. But guess what? We don't actually know what's going to be inside that packaging. We're just gonna have to wait until the pre-orders pop up for us to actually pick up these figures. So in reality, what was the live stream about? Was it really just about these dudes pretending to draft DC Multiverse action figures? Because that's really all it was. And by the way, they try to have like a sports style draft, but most of these dudes literally just admitted that they have no idea how the draft process works because they don't follow sports. I mean, look, I'm not going to bash the people that were there. I actually watched some of these guys. DC Brad is probably one of my favorite content creators ever. I don't watch him as much, now recently, just because I have so many things going on, but I'm one of his like original fans. I absolutely love Ahsoka as well. He makes some absolutely banger videos from time to time. So look, I do watch them, and so I'm not going to go, spend an entire like 10-minute rant on bashing them, but I will say this video just seemed completely out of place. Like, if you want to make this type of content, you want to make like some of these like really out of left field videos where it's like, hey, let's draft DC Multiverse action figures, let's rank them, let's just talk about comic book covers, do that, but don't mix them in with your live stream, because at the end of the day, you lost me, and I'm sure you lost a bunch of other viewers that were just waiting there for like 10 to 20 minutes before they decided to just tune out. Like I said, there might have been people that stuck around for the entirety of the live stream, and if you did, you deserve some type of award. You deserve a hug from McFarlane himself, because what the heck was that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, if the fact that they decided to tie it in with this video and then really didn't reveal anything. We just got some weird little clip of these figures on a rotating base, and that's it. We don't get any cool poses. We don't get any of the accessories. They could spend some time at least talking about the backstory of some of these characters, what source material they're basing these figures on, and I'm sure that there will be a live stream later down the line where they decide to do something like that, but why not do it now? Or at least save the figures for that particular live stream and not try to mix them in, because most of us were ready. Most of us were there, with our little notepad, trying to get all of this stuff together and trying to, formulate our game plan for what it is that we were going to purchase, or what it is that we were going to pre-order. But instead, the reveals were locked behind a 1 hour just like jizz fest over McFarlane product. And look, I'm a McFarlane fan from time to time. I've said it before. I don't necessarily consider myself against any manufacturer. Like, if McFarlane releases a really good figure, I'm going to buy it. If Hasbro releases an absolute banger Spider-Man, I'm going to purchase it. I'm just all over the place. I'm a fan of whoever is making the best product. Whoever is giving me a figure with some really good head sculpts, some really good accessories, great articulation, great sculpt work. I will never call myself a fanboy or a loyalist of any of these manufacturers, But the fact that McFarlane goes out of his way to just kind of turn his own fan base against him, and look, I've made this point before, but I'll continue making it. He just doesn't care about the DC license at all. I mean, maybe the statues per se, and whenever he gets to work on like comic books because that's his passion. But in terms of like the DC multiverse and the collector's edition line, you can tell that he's just kind of phoning it in. He's done with that line. He realizes maybe that, as long as he puts the most minimal amount of effort, he's still going to be able to make profit, because guess what? He probably doesn't even make that much money even if he were to put a ton of effort into the DC Multiverse line and Collector's Edition line. He probably wouldn't make as much as, let's say, the amount of effort that he puts into like his Spawn line, right? Because all of the profits go directly into his pocket, or all of his Spawn comic book content, whether it's, a graphic novel, whether it's him going out and signing some of these comic books, whether it's him getting some of these graded, because we do know that he has some signings from time to time where he actually sells signed and graded comic books. And the list goes on and on. I mean, every milestone is a really huge accomplishment for him. There's like 4 to 5 different ratio variants for each individual comic book. And that's really where his money is at. Every time he licenses something out, every time somebody wants to, put his movie on a streaming platform, anytime somebody wants to put his animated series on a streaming platform, he's going to make money off of that. We've recently seen Mortal Kombat start to use Spawn as one of like their DLC characters. Guess what? He's probably making a huge chunk of change from that, because again, he owns all of the rights for Spawn, and that's really where his MO is. Same thing with the statues. I think statues are a little bit easier to put together just because there's no like tricky engineer work when it comes to articulation. It's just like, here's a resin, here's some plastic, and then he tells the engineers what it is that he wants, and they design it, and then they're able to just mass produce these. They're way easier to manufacture than action figures, and the profit margins are probably bigger, and that's why he just doesn't care about the DC multiverse. And we're starting to see it more and more, where it seems like he's more about like the content that he's putting out there rather than the actual product. And even if it was maybe more about, the presentation, it isn't there either. I mean, and I always use the Hasbro live stream as a perfect example. Like, they actually sit there, they'll tell you about the action figure, what's the source material. They'll tell you a little bit about the comic book arc. They'll tell you about what was going on. They'll talk about the accessories, the head sculpts, what's new, what's not. Is it an outdated body mold, or is it brand new head to toe? Are we getting extra hands, wiping accessories, blast effects? Are we getting an action figure stand? Those are things that they really dissect and go into. They talk about price points. They talk about why it is that they're going to that particular price point. And those are things that I think McFarlane is really missing. It just felt like the entire live stream really wasn't about the reveals at all. They just kind of like half-assed it at the end, and they decided to just throw up some images of the figures. It was just incredibly disappointing. Again, I'm not trying to knock the content creators that were on the stream, because like I said, they're great and I follow some of them, but this to me just seemed half-hearted. And McFarlane can do much better, in my personal opinion. I think bare minimum, give the people what they want. Give them some images of the accessories. Tell them what it's going to come with. Like I said, give a little bit of backstory. Talk about the body mold. Is it new? Is it not new? For me personally, it's very difficult to tell, just because I don't pick up every DC Multiverse action figure or every collector's edition line figure. I tend to be way more picky myself with the collector's edition line and the DC Multiverse line, and really just in general, I've gotten way more picky if I feel like there's a character, or if I feel like there's a line or a wave that I feel like I can pick up on clearance at a later time. I'll do that unless it's like a really heavy hitter character. But like I said, to me personally, McFarlane is just mishandling this entire situation. I think that he should do a live stream just for the reveals, even if it means it's going to be a smaller stream, maybe 30-40 minutes. That's usually what Hasbro does as well. And I feel like his ultimate goal here was to water down the video, just put as much content as he possibly could in 1 hour, and then hope that I'm not sure if maybe his objective is to get more ad revenue. I'm not sure what the objective objective here was, but I think it completely missed the mark. I think this could have easily been 2 separate live streams. If you want to do, you know, crazy, quirky things like that, the whole draft for DC action figures from McFarlane, do that, but have it be a separate video. That way people that are interested in that actually watch it. But ultimately, I can only imagine how many different people clicked on it, maybe watched like 10 to 15 minutes, realized how ridiculously long that whole segment was going to be, tuned out, and then maybe either rewatch the ending of the live stream or just watch somebody recap the entire event, because that's probably what most people did, and that's what I did myself, because I wasn't going to watch the entirety of the video. I actually went back and rewatched the live stream and just watched like the last few minutes of it to get a closer look at some of the figures, or some of the quote-unquote reveals that they were having. But again, not really a reveal. You get in some really close-up shots of these figures with no accessories, no cool poses. That's it. That's all you're gonna get. If you're a loyalist, if you're a fanboy that goes around sniffing McFarlane farts, that'll probably just make you jizz, that alone. But for me personally, I need a little bit more. And again, just my personal opinion, my personal rant. I know I tend to go on these ridiculously long rants for these videos, and sometimes I even get dehydrated. Like, my throat is incredibly dry right now. And all of this is your fault, McFarlane. Okay, I blame you. Anyways, all jokes aside, guys, that's it. That's all I have to say. This is just my personal opinion, my personal take. I'm really disappointed in the way that McFarlane handles it, and I think he's on the right path. I think, you know, doing the whole live stream, connecting with his fan base, things of that nature, that's a really good idea. But I definitely feel like he needs to refine this entire formula, and hopefully he's able to figure it out within the next few months, because honestly, I think a lot of people are just becoming incredibly frustrated with the situation, and I'll include myself in that. But as always, let me know down below your thoughts. Let me know down below if I'm wrong, if I'm right, if I at least made some good points, or if I'm just a complete buffoon that is dehydrated and needs to sip on some H2O or some Gatorade or vodka, whatever it is that you're into when it comes down to sipping. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, make sure to stay tuned. We have a ton of new projects on the way, a ton of great videos headed towards you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy all of it. And as always, stay safe out there. Enjoy the hobby. Play with your action figures. Pose them, photograph them, throw them around. Let your kids handle them if that's what you're into. But just enjoy them. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe.